The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network. The pre-roll is going to be short and sweet and to the point. Crank up the volume. This is Big Country coming on the wood. I bet you can't listen to it just once.
Y'all are both on your phone every time I talk to you, or every time I'm anywhere near you. All right. I'm here, sitting down at Salem, Illinois, with Mr. Ashley Oxendine, Mr. John Strickland, and they have been gracious enough to sit down with me for the truth portion on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network. Ashley, John, how you guys doing today?
Good, buddy, good.
Good.
Well, you guys got some dogs in last night, didn't you?
Got two.
Yeah, Jake got in. Jake Moore's sitting here behind us. He says he's going to be a silent witness, which that's the only time I've ever seen Jake Moore silent. And then Dale got in last night, Dale Huff.
Yep, Little Trigger and Big Trigger.
Little Trigger and Big Trigger got in. So you guys are doing better than we are. We can't win a cast. Trader Inc. can't win a cast out here, I found out.
I can't win a cast. I don't know what the world. Jeff can't win a cast.
Yeah, what did you hunted Apollo last night?
I did.
How'd he look?
I did. He looked horrible.
Really?
I mean, he got in and got struck and treed. Had a big live oak, a big white oak acorn tree. I don't think there was 6 coons sitting around him. I don't think he had anything. Billy Bell's a little shifter dog and treated a coon for 100 right in front of us. Right, did a great job. Headed to me. Billy's comes treat 60 yards to the right of mine. I seen the coon before we ever got to mine. So, well, this is ugly. Cut back loose, and Billy's treated another coon. So
Shifter's a pretty good dog.
yeah, you got to know when to quit.
Yeah,
You know.
Shifter's done a lot of winning.
You know, it's funny, them dogs like Shifter and Cap, the one Ward's hunting, and 2 or 3 more I can name, they're all about the same age, and them dogs are not only were they inconsistent, but they would probably miss more coons than they should. And now they're getting some age on them, and you look, them dogs are like the Carl Anthony Downs and they're coming up. I mean, it's unbelievable how consistent and how good that little group of dogs are becoming.
And they have Ward put on a dang. What do you have? 700 plus and 525.
Yeah, that pro sport hunt up there. He, he had 700 or 800.
Yeah. As much as I hate to sit here and compliment Michael Ward,
I ain't complimenting him.
No, that is Cap's a good dog, and Cap can light up the scoreboard if he's in the right situation, too. And Michael even talked about that when he was on the podcast. He said you put him in coons, and he'll just beat the brakes off of you.
If you draw Cap, you need to take him to the biggest, gnarliest woods you can find. Keep him off them fence rows.
Yeah,
them fence rows, he will absolutely destroy you.
Get him in them tickets.
Yeah.
Ashley, what you been doing this week? You're doing business. Every time I'm looking at you, you're trying to make some more money or something.
It's tough, man. On the farm, it's busy all the time.
I know. Well, you guys do. You got a lot going on.
A lot, yep.
Have you been hunting much?
Haven't been any.
I know you've been busy doing the farm work.
It's been crazy. I hope with our weather, like October, that's when our good hunt starts. October, November, December, and through then. So
I know I haven't been out there to hunt with you yet, but I've seen some of your videos and some of that water and them swamps and stuff. Really weird. I don't know if that'd be much fun or not.
Yeah, I don't believe you want to come hunt with me.
So, you guys own, and I want to talk about a lot of dogs and talk a lot about a lot of things, but you guys own, well, I only know 2 blue ticks, and I drew one last night, and Big Country is my favorite. You guys own country together, and he's been. I still say he put up the best 2 hours I've ever seen out of a dog when John was handling him up there at that $6,500 hunt at the house. Yeah. And he's an impressive dog, and he's really thrown a lot of pups. And I'm gonna sit down and just kind of pick your guys' brain about country first. How's country doing? I ain't seen the poor dog for a while. I miss him.
I hadn't either. Ashley won't let me. He's scared to death. I'm going to take country and pull him out of retirement and start hunting him again. He hides him from me.
He's doing phenomenal. You know, he's breeding a lot of females, and we try to rotate him out. You know, like some guys down south my way to try to. It's farther from John, and then vice versa. But he's looking real good. He looked like he's 5 years old.
Yeah. How old is country now?
Maybe 9 in December.
That's what
December 12th.
Yeah. So country's getting some age on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you guys got for pups out of country right now?
I have a Hills and Country
Yeah.
pup. He loves to run. He's really not set in on trend yet. We got Zeb 3 female off of JB's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She nice pups, good looking pups. But as far as the Hills and Country pup, the only thing that we have really off of country.
But there's country pups winning. What's the Burkholder's female, and then you got.
I'm gonna. It was funny because just on the way up here on Sunday, the old Norm Starling, you know, that whole deal. But when I was at the Pro Sport Hunt, he said something about he said this is the best blue tick living or something in front of a bunch of people. I said no, the money winning blue tick you want to be. I said the money winning blue tick ever is in North Carolina at Ashley Oxendine's house, and I said I tell you he's the best blue tick that I know of living, including yours, messing with him. And he said, he popped off and said, well, what's his pups doing? And I said, dude, you don't even want to go there. But I don't even sit and think about it sometimes. Sunday I was driving up, and next week I'm going to get with Alan Gingrich. He said he'd run a report, and I'm going to get with Brandy and them girls at PKC and put together some stuff that shows it's really phenomenal what the pups have done. I mean, like Burkholder, he's the third money winningest crossbred female ever. You know, and he turned like $100,000 down for that pup. And then a lot of people don't know it, but the female that won the Triple Crown last year is a country pup. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean, nobody thought about that. I didn't even think about it actually.
What makes country amongst these blue tick guys? What makes country? Because he's a controversial dog, and I don't understand it. Because that's as good a dog as I've seen turn loose, and you would think, and they are breeding to him a lot, but there's a lot of Walker guys breeding to him. There's a lot of PKC. For some reason, there's just kind of some angst in the blue tick side of it towards country.
I think, Josh, that there's the angst amongst all the blue tick guys. I don't think it's country. I've noticed that, you know, it was pretty phenomenal to me when Gary Hoochman called me and said, hey, I want to breed some females to country, you know. I was like, Gary, and I'm not knocking the breed. I love to breed. Matter of fact, like one of my top 5 favorite dogs was a one called Wolf Creek Knothead that we got in the Final Four to PKC World Hunt one time. He kind of reminded me of country, big, stout, beautiful, big mouth. And I loved that dog. I mean, that phenomenal hound. So I hunted the blue stealth dog for Rocky Wilkes. I hunted with the Fido dog that him and Richie McDonald, a little bit to Richie McDonald hunt. So there's a big line of blue ticks that I've followed a long time, and I really like them. But it's hard to find one that can compete. They're out there, don't get me wrong, but it's hard to find one that can compete on an every night level. And these blue tick guys, they don't like to cross out, and I think that's a big problem and the demise of their breed where we're at today. Because I'm going to use you guys for example. Trader Inc. I love Jed Finley like a brother. I'd take a bullet for him. But Jed Finley has tried
in the leg though, not like in the chest.
No, in the pinky toe, little toe. Okay, but Jed is as good a dog man and being able to know what it takes to win these hunts. But he's been trader, and he did his little logo and he bought into it himself to where Jed really needs to cross out to make that dog or that line of dogs better, I believe. The best at doing that, I thought, was Barry Kitty.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Barry Kitty did a phenomenal job. And he's
the proof's in the pudding there.
Well,
I mean, look at the numbers.
Yeah, but you think about it. You never even hear about Barry Kitty anymore.
Yeah.
You know? We were going over last night, and Billy Bell called. You know, Barry's like Billy's mentor was forever.
I actually talked to Billy yesterday about maybe getting Barry on this.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. And Barry, you know, Barry was good as they come, and then he had enough foresight to see, hey, I want to breed this kind of dog. And like Ashley's Heels dog, I'm not a big guy on what something's off of. I just like a good one, you know. And Ashley's Heels dog, every time we go down that marsh, and I don't care if I tree 10 or 12 a night, she'll tree 14. If I tree 1, she trees 3. And the minute, one night I had her beat, I was hunting Wishbone. He falls in there, bam, he trees a coon. I'm like, oh, I got you. Oh, Mama ain't said anything. I pull him off that tree and send him, bam, he trees another coon. I said, your tail's beat tonight. And all of a sudden, Mama comes tree like 40 foot behind us. I'm like, she's jealous treeing. She had a whole oak tree full of coons. Well, we send her. Mine's getting on through there. I'm like, all right, bud, you got to get treed. She goes like 4 trees over, bam, trees another coon. And I'm like, all right, well, let's drive around. Ashley's like, let's cut her one more time. He cuts her. She goes 8 trees over, bam, trees another coon. Now I'm a coon behind. At the end of the night, I was like 9 coons behind, you know. And Billy said something yesterday. We was talking about Peaches and them dogs. And she goes, Billy said, yeah, that Heels is double wipeout bred. I said, you stupid. You better look. And Ashley said, yeah. I'm like, no wonder I can't stand that big. You know? But anyway.
I always, because Heels come from my part of the world, and I always loved Heels. But she was kind of moody.
Yep.
And sometimes she would, if she didn't like who was handling her, if she didn't like something, she was going to really screw that handler over. I seen her just hose Travis Carlock out of a 4-wheeler one night. I mean, just hosed him. But, man, when she wanted to tree coon, she would beat the brakes off you. Absolutely beat the brakes off of you.
Yeah. You know, going back to Kitty, when I mean, I've been competition hunting since I was 12 years old and PKC hunting since I was, 16. And a guy named Tim Kramer, I think his PKC number's like 61 or something stupid. He's the one that really got me over the hump and taught me how to win, you know, in a PKC hunt. I learned so much from him. Well, it was Tim Kramer and Junior Jackson and Doug Jackson and Barry Kitty. Clay Young, he was young. Billy was really young. He was younger than me. So that's the guys when I was a kid that I was hunting against. And as I got older and started working, was able to buy a better dog and hunt more and train better dogs. And I got where I could compete. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were running Habit and a female named Salt Creek Jenny. And every time, it didn't matter. It's like we'd win. And back then, the big deal was the Pro Division. And every time I drew Kitty, I was like, come on, man. You know, I don't ever remember beating Barry Kitty. Something would always happen. Yeah. And one time we was at the Georgia Pro Hunt, and I was in, and with Habit in the Final Four, and it was pouring down, raining, and somebody said something about splitting. I said no. He was hunting old Ruby. I'm like, no, I ain't splitting tonight. I'm gonna beat him. I got him. It's raining, you know. Habit's got that big old mouth. I'm gonna wear him out. We go out there, and I beat him all the way to the last minute in like 20 seconds. And old Ruby come walking beside us right on past Habit's tree. And I said, I got her now, you know. And she did kind of what Heels did. She goes over about 4 trees and comes treed with like 38 seconds in the hunt. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, coming on trees. And she's got a coon and beats me. And we get back to the truck. And I said, don't put her in your truck. What do you mean? I said, I'm tired of her beating me. I'm buying her. And he goes, I don't want to sell her. I said, I don't want to hear it. I'm buying her. Put her in my truck. He got to laughing. He goes, you'll just bring her back. I'm like, no, you put her in my truck. So I bought her, forked out the cash, a whole pile of cash. And I took her home, and I only hunt one dog. Even today, I only hunt one dog. I had Habit at the time. I said, I bought you a dog, Kramer. Me and Kramer own dogs together. Kramer said, what is it? I said, it's old Ruby. He goes, oh, he wouldn't sell her. I said, boy, I bought her, bud. I'm tired of getting beat by her. I bought her. He goes, boy, we'll wear them out with Habit and Ruby. And about 3 weeks later, he said, I can't hunt her, Bo. I said, what do you mean? He goes, that thing trails and barks and boo-bats around. And he says, I can't do it. You're going to have to take her. I said, well, I can win with her. Barry Kitty win with her. I said, give her to me. I'll give you Habit. And I think it was about 6 nights I called Barry up and said, Barry, I said, well, how much of my money can I get back? He went to laughing. I said, well, it's like this. Either A, you're going to handle for me because I'm bringing her back to your house, or you just going to buy her back. And he said, just bring old mama home. Ain't no problem. And I go back and get a little bit of my money back.
Wasn't all of it, though, was it?
No, but it might have been half, And Kitty just laughed. And so we go to the next pro hunt, and I draw him again, and Final Four again, and he beats me again. And I'm just like, man.
Some people and some dogs and some stuff. And Barry's just one of those guys, too. And there's guys like that around here, too, that just seems like ain't nothing you can do with them. Mm-hmm. And you don't like their dog, and you don't like what they do, and you don't like how they do it. And then by the end of the hunt, they're still beating you by a quarter. And it's amazing sometimes.
Yeah.
We need to just start buying them all.
Yeah, right. Rainy, Ike-size them.
Yeah, that's right. How many dogs did they have here this week?
Ike Rainey, if you ever listen to this, I think 56, but that's not from you. That's just from the rumors. I know I watched them draw like 30 or 31 out at this hunt, but I think he's got about 56 or 58 coon dogs he's bought.
My. And I've drawn and judged one about every night, it feels like.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get one.
You're just going to run
25 dogs, you got to,
Ashley, we're going to let you talk. I know John likes to talk all the time. We're going to let Ashley talk a little bit. Tell us, we're talking about country earlier, and we're going to get into the country versus bad habit conversation here after a bit. John's rolling his eyes at me, but I'm always asking him to pick one, and he won't ever pick one. But what made you? Because not everybody hadn't heard of country. I remember when Wes bred Ruby. I believe Burkholder still had him then, didn't he?
I had bought him.
You had just bought him?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wes is hunting at my house. We're pleasure hunting, and he's telling me he's going to breed to this blue tick. I'm saying, you're what? He goes, oh, you'd love this dog. You love this dog. And I rolled my eyes. I said, I bet I don't. But what drew you to even pick up country?
I've hunted all my life, Josh, and we got out of it. I was building my business, and I got out of it for like 18 years. My family, my granddad, great-granddad is in my blood, but I never did. I had competition a little bit, but never had the money to, hunt at a big level, And Rocky Hodge called Wes and said, we're looking for a good dog. For me, I had to have a good one to hunt. I knew what a coon dog was. I just couldn't take an average dog. And my son, at that time, he was wanting to start back hunting, and he got killed in June of 18. And I said, man, I'm not going to do it. And then I thought about it. I said, I made him a promise that I was going to start back, and I'm going to do it. So and I did. And Rocky called Wes. Wes showed me a female that he had. And, I said, Wes. And Wes, when he seen that, he ain't want to buy this dog. Yeah. And he said, I'm going to tell you where a good one is. He said, country. I said, big country. I said, the blue dog? He said, yeah. I said, man, that blue dog can't win. He said, I'm telling you. He said, he's the real deal. So I called Steve and Donnie. They wouldn't even return my phone call. So I said, Wes, you got to try to, line it up for me. And he did. And we went out, and I stayed with Burkholder 3 nights. In the first, honestly, hour, I was blown away, and I've seen some good dogs go. My country is terrible, as far as treeing coons. And I just couldn't believe it. I was blown away. And his downfall was his gear. He went too deep, he was a hard-going dog. And we made a deal. I bought him. And right after I bought him, John called me. And he told me, he said, I'm John Strickland from Springfield, Kentucky, and, want to buy country. I said, no, he ain't for sale.
So you hadn't had him very long when John called, had you?
No, I hadn't had him like maybe 6 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks. And then I had him all winter at my house hunting, and we went to the CHKC World Hunt. I hadn't met John, and that's where I met John. And Burkholder got him like 3 days before the CHKC World Hunt. We went up there and got in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Then I met John, and we made a deal. And John said, if you ain't going to sell me half of him.
And it wasn't very long after that. You had just got him whenever I hunted with him. I think you hadn't had him very long.
I had him. So I seen Ashley at the CHKC World Hunt, and I called him he was whispering. I couldn't understand him. I mean, I swear, guys, I could not. I'm like really plugging my ear with one on the phone. I'm plugging my ear and trying to listen, but come to find out, now I know his wife, and we're best buddies and all. But Cressa, his wife, was in the bed, and he didn't want Cressa to know how much he paid for that dog, and he was trying to whisper. That's how it was.
Yeah.
And I offered him a bunch of money, and he goes, no, that won't buy him. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to pull the gloves off. I said, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I said, in the morning I'm going to get up, I'm going to have a McDonald's bag, and this is what's going to be in it. And it was a whole lot of money. It was, more than I ever dreamed I'd offer for a dog. And I'd never laid eyes on this dog. And he sits there a minute on the phone. He says, no, I think I'm going to keep him. I'm like, well, that dude's an idiot. I didn't know him. Nobody knew him. I mean, nobody knew him. He said he's a chicken farmer in North Carolina. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Ashley don't strike me as a common chicken farmer in North Carolina. Now that we all know him.
Yeah, now that we know him, but that's
him
just
then,
what he was. So I called him up. He turned all that money down. So I don't think nothing about it. I go to HXP World Hunt. I got my back turned. And I hear somebody say, John Strickland. And when I heard John Strickland, I knew that voice. He's got a unique voice. And I'm like, Ashley Oxendine. We get to talking, and we're in the pharmaceutical wholesale business. And his wife's a pharmacist, so we had that in common.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, and we grew up coon hunting 10, 11 years old. We had that in common. And he says to me, what you doing on Wednesday? And I'm like, whatever I want to do. Why? He goes, you want to take country to the Nationals? Burkhalter can't go. And I said, heck yeah. He said, can you call him? I said, you got a video of him? He said, yeah. I said, play it. And I listened. I said, yeah, I'm good. And he says, well, I'll meet you Sunday with him. I said, we got a problem. He said, what's the problem? I said, I ain't hunting nothing I own at least half of. Oh, I don't want to sell him. No, I said own. And he goes, I don't want to sell him, John. I said, well, sell me half. And he says, I don't know. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, buddy. I've never still laid eyes on this dog. I'm just going by what Jeff Rickliff basically had said. And I actually don't even know this today. I actually sent Jeff kind of as a spy down there to hunt with that dog after he done drew him one time. I said, don't say nothing to him about buying. You just go hunt with him. And then I got him to get Steve to come to his house where I kind of knew the hunting layout. And he's calling me. He said, we treat 17 tonight. And I said, well, how many country treat? 15? And I'm like, So anyway, so we at the CHKC World Hunt, and we cut a deal. And I'm like, I tell Jeff said, what do you think? I said, he's a good dude. I know. I said, but if they win the CHKC World Hunt, I said, he ain't going to sell me half this dog. There ain't no way in hell. I said, I can forget it. I'm still looking, And they get in, and he calls me. He says, we in? I said, boy, that's good. He goes, I'll meet you Sunday. I said, what if you win this thing, And he goes, well, I told you I was meeting you Sunday at the coffee shop, Starbucks. They're in Memphis, or he said Nashville. He said, so if we win a world hunt, when I see you Sunday, I'll be handing you a world champion to hunt Wednesday. So Jeff leaves there and comes to my house. So we get country. He's hobbled up, his foot's cut. I'm like, man, I can't even hunt this dog, So we lay him up.
That was a pretty brutal final cast.
It was, Burkhalter come uncorked. He can't. He's better now. His nerves. I look back at that. I'm like, dude, I don't want to world hunt with that dog. Yeah. Anyway, so I get this dog, and I can't hunt him. And I lay him up one night. I lay him up the next night. And I lay him up the next night. Jeff's still at my house. And I said, Jeff, I just need to drop him one drop. He goes, I think he's good now. I said, all right. So I turned this dog down a little old oak tree line I hunt all the time. There's always pretty good hunting. I cut him down through there, and bud, he comes treed, and I'm telling you, it like literally made the hair stand up on your back. Mine, because he was just sounded like a tractor trailer coming down the off ramp. I'm like, my God. I said, I know I got a lot of money in, but half of him. I said, I can tell you one thing, bud. I'm a happy camper right now. Just that mouth alone. And Jeff said, I'll bet you 100 he's got a raccoon. I ain't never seen a tree he didn't have a raccoon in. And I laughed. And we drove up within 5 foot in the side-by-side. And he was on a gut sling. And I looked. And Jeff said, so we got to keep looking. I said, bud, it's slick. So then the word got out that, people that really didn't know Ashley, like a bunch of people in Georgia, Buddy Deletry and all that, Cecil Pittman and all them people down there, the word got out. I paid a bunch of money for just half of a blue tick. And I went to the Nationals, and I won early the first night and got beat. And I won the next night early and got beat. I won the next night and you beat me, actually. You beat me the last night.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Michael Moody. Moody beat me one night. No, you had never hunted with him.
No, I'd never
It was
hunted
Michael
with him.
Moody.
It had to have been Moody, 'cause it
Michael
wasn't me.
Moody. Michael Moody kept going, boy, I like that dog. I want to hunt with that dog. I want to hunt with that dog. Well, he goes out there, beats me, and he leaves, and him and Jed Finley's on the cast. And Jed's like, what do y'all want for that dog? I'm like, man, we ain't selling that dog. And Country is through the world treat again. He gets treated like 2 minutes after the cast. I'm beat on tiebreaker. So Jed's like, I'm going to get Country. He jogs back to his truck, and I'm like, I'm not running. He goes, I'm going to get him. I'll meet you on the road. I hear him, pow, pow. He's in there shooting this coon at you. And he gets back to the road, and he goes, I'm owning part of this dog. I'm like, you lost your mind, bud. You know, so he keeps on. Well, at that point, there was 2 or 3 little things a dog needed to make a big winner, and I'm like, all right, hunts are over until I get him where I want him, and I started pleasure hunting. And one thing at a time. And he learned really quick. And Ashley's like, when you go into a hunt? I said, when he's ready. Oh, boy. He said, and when we got in, Ashley said, the only thing I want to do is make him all-time a platinum champion, of course, and I want to make him all-time money-winning blue tick. And I said, Ashley, if this dog's what Jeff and Steve and these guys say he is, we'll do it this year. And he laughed. He said, well, I give you one thing. You might be short, but you cocky. I'm like, well, I'm just telling you what we're going to do, you know, so... I don't hunt the dog. I'm pleasure hunting the dog. And I said, when you take him to hunt? I said, when he's ready. And about 2 weeks later, when you take him to a hunt? I'm like, when he's ready. And about a month later, when you go on the hunt? I said, bud, what'd you tell me you want to do? You told me you want to be a platinum champion and you want to make all-time money winning blue dog. I said, when he's ready, I'll get that done. But he ain't ready. So y'all's hunt, Jed Finley's hunt, come about. And I said, all right, he's ready. And I didn't even tell Ashley I was going. I'm going up the interstate. And Ashley calls, where you at? I said, I'm in Missouri. What are you doing? I said, I'm going to make this dog the all-time money-winning blue tick. No, I said, I'm going to make this dog a platinum champion this weekend. And next weekend is Sean Wood's hunt up here. And that weekend, I'm going to make him the all-time money-winning blue tick. And he started laughing like something was funny. And I'm sitting there just calm as I can be. I said, what are you laughing at? He goes, boy, you something. I said, I'm just telling you what I'm going to do, Ashley Oxendine. I've been doing this a long time. I draw Jason Clem with a Rex dog that's been winning a bunch, and I draw Ryan Crossan with a ex-world champion. So I sent him a picture of the scorecard, and he texts back and says, couldn't you pick a little harder one? And I said, well, I want to get started at the top, you know. And I think that night, I think Rex... Everybody treat a coon, and I treat 4. I had like a big score. Yeah. And I come in that night, and they said something about split. And I'm like, yeah, we can split. Split was like $13,000. Yeah. I'm like, all right, that gives me tomorrow night, and he's going to be a platinum champion. And then, you know, the next weekend, I'm going to make him all-time money-winning blue dog. That was what was in my mind. I really thought I could do that. I walk in the door, and you overlook at the card, and you like Red Bones or Atwell or something at the time, and I really didn't know you, and you were sitting there at the table, and you looked at me and said, is that dog really worth a damn? And I said, well, I don't eat. And you said, well, I can tell you what, it's going to happen tomorrow night. And I said, what? And you said, I will be guiding him tomorrow night. And I said, well, I guess you'll see what he is. And if you remember, I pulled that dog out the box, and he was standing up on his back feet smelling. Well, then you walked me like 200 yards. I swear to you, guys, he walked me. Josh is like, come on, Strickland, got to go this way. And I'm like, there's a coon right here, dude. And Josh walks me like 200 yards down this trail to the point, matter of fact, I made a comment. I said, dude, mine will go hunting. I don't know about y'all's, but mine will go hunting. I don't feel the need to walk. And I'm already getting agitated because he's all right. So we stop, and we send these dogs down this path. And nothing opens. In about 2 minutes, my Garmin, now Country's 220 yards on the Garmin. All of a sudden, he's 65 yards in front of me. And now he's 85 feet in front of me. And and on one bark, Country struck. And he takes this track right-handed. Wall. And Josh looks over at me and says, is that thing broke? Not is that thing broke? I remember like it was day. And I said, Josh, you fixing to see how broke he is. And about the time I said that, he loads up. And Josh says, oh, I like his tree mouth. Walk in there, and they got struck and treed. So they headed off to theirs and our tree, and we walk in there. And on the way in there, Josh said, he's got him. I done seen him. I'm like, yeah, I see. So I tie him back. And
one thing, because I knew what that woods was like.
Yeah.
None of them other guys knew what that woods wasn't clean. You know, it wasn't no. I mean, there's a lot of multiple rows. Once you got in there, it got cleaner. But right there where Country was running, I realized what he was running that track through. And I'm looking. It's dark, and I'm looking at where Country barked the last time. And you know how you do when them dogs are trailing around, even pleasure hunting. You're looking kind of towards where you think your dog was going to bark. And Country opened once, and I look in there, and I'm kind of off to the right a little bit. I can tell which direction he's running this track. Well, the next time he barks is like at 4 o'clock. And the next time he barks is like at 7 o'clock. And my head's way behind by then. By the time he makes his 4th bark, he's made this big loop. And he's run this coon through some pretty miserable stuff. And he got treed, and I thought, well, maybe that's just a one-off. Maybe that's just a...
Well, I'll never forget, you said that, and you said he kind of looked at me and snarled. Suzanne was walking around with us, too, if you remember.
Yep.
And Suzanne says, "Do you know that guy?" I'm like, "Oh, I think he's a pretty good dude, but I don't know him." And he says, "He don't like Country, does he?" And I said, "Oh, he'll come around," and went to laughing. I was cutting up. So he kind of, we go down, and then, so we regather them and cut back loose and strike me for 100 and strike Moody for 75, strike these other dogs, and they kind of make a loop in there. And Moody's come trees right in front of us, and these dogs are right here in front of us. And I remember Josh looked at me and he said, "This is where the rubber meets the road." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "Now, we're 200 yards in front of these dogs, and we're kind of up on a little hill looking down, over the top of them." And he said, "Well, you got a dog tree right and a dog tree left. What's old Blue Country going to do now?" And about the time he said that, I said, "Judge," he said, "Yeah." I said, "You hear me through here?" And the judge didn't answer. Josh is like, "Where?" And I'm like, "Judge." I wanted to say, "Your ass ain't judging." Judge,
I should have been.
"Do you hear me through here?" And the judge said, "Yeah." I said, "All right." He said, "You treeing?" I said, "No, I just want to make sure you hear him." He was treed already, but I would. So we walk in there, and I find Moody's coon because I want Moody's dog to shut up so I can really hear him, not tree off a Garmin. So I find Moody's coon immediately, and we pull off. And when I do, I tree him, and we head to me. And Josh goes with me and Suzanne again. And we get about halfway across this field. Josh said, "Damn, he's got another one. He's got another one." I said, "Yeah." They come to me. And then he trees another coon, and then we get cut loose, and who was it arguing with us?
It was, at the end, it was Moody and Logan Ray.
Logan Ray,
Yeah.
all right. So Logan Ray, I've got this cast blown out. I mean, it is ugly. It's like I've got 700, somebody's got like 150 or something. It's stupid. So Moody's is way left-handed, and there's 2 or 3 dogs right-handed, and I hadn't struck, and Logan Ray's dog opens with his chopped mouth. It opens again. He opens again. Judge asks for a call. And then Country opens, and I strike him. And then Logan Ray strikes, and the boy says, "No, that's the dog. I'm minusing you." And Logan Ray, "Strickland, he caught." And I'm like, "Listen, bud, it don't even." So I let him and the judge argue. And about that time, Country loads up. And they're sitting there arguing. And Josh finally says, "Boys," no, he says, "Strickland, why don't you treat that damn dog? We're going to walk in there and score the 5th coon of the night and make them look really stupid, and it's over with." He said, even though there was like 38 minutes left in the hunt. And Moody says, "If he's got another one." Now they running the stationary on me. I'm just saying, "They'll run it," And Moody says, "He's got another one. I'm done." And this other boy, Hunter, he says, that's hunting Hunter, he says, "Yeah, if he's got a coon."
No, it was Bones.
That's
Justin
right.
Thompson,
That's right,
Bones,
Justin. He said, "Yeah, if he's got one, I'm done." And Logan Ray's the one that give us all the fit, and he mumbled and jumbled around there, and direct Logan Ray says, "Yeah, if he's got a coon, I'm done." I said, "Well, tree me, let's go then." He walked in there, and he had a double. Logan Ray's walking ahead of me, and before I get to tree, Logan's walking back. He said, "Good job, Strickland. He's got a double." I walked it in.
That was, and I've said that before, that was the only perfect, and it wasn't a full 2 hours. But it was by the time we got to Country, because he was deep on that last tree. But that was the most perfect 2 hours I ever seen out of a dog. He laid coons up. He hunted that woods like he was supposed to, because remember, he treed them 3 or 4 coons right there in that little patch. Laid 2 of them up, ran a good track out of the truck and run it, and then when he ran out of coons right there, he shot through there and got across that creek bottom and treated another coon at the end.
Yeah.
And so I know I gave him hell, but at least I was honest enough to say, when it was over with.
I called Ashley. I really wanted to hunt that one off, because if I hunted off, it put me like $58 ahead of the all-time money winner. A split made him a platinum champion. And if I hunted, it put us like $50-something ahead of the all-time money winning blue dog. But our daughter was flying into Louisville, and I had to be there at her flight was like 7.
Yeah.
And if I left like right then, I could make it and only be like 15 minutes late. So I'm like, man, I hope nobody wants to hunt it off, because if not, I'm going to have to get Uber, or she's going to have to sit around the hour from our house. And so we split. I called Ashley, said, what'd you do? I said, another 12,888, bud. You own an all-time money winning, or you own a Platinum Champion blue tick. I said, next weekend, I said, we'll make him all-time money winning blue dog. He laughed, I said, I ain't playing, bud. And we did it the next weekend. But people ask me all the time, how good a dog is country? How good a dog's country? And, anybody else handling a dog, John, you've been around, you know how to handle a dog. The bottom line, guys, I don't care how you are or if you got fairy dust in your pocket. When you take a dog all in 1 year and you get him in the top 6 of every World Hunt, the CHKC World Hunt, the PKC World Hunt, the UKC World Hunt, all in the same year, you got a coon dog, buddy. Mm-hmm. And that dog, I don't remember a single cast that whole year that I ran that dog. I don't remember a single cast that I didn't do anything other than calling. You know what I mean? I don't remember having any breaks that he shouldn't have got. I don't remember having any big deal that was like, man, he shouldn't have been there. Even the cast, I had Finley again in the cast going into the head-up round, that late round of this hunt, the PKC World Hunt. And it was me and set him up, Joe, with Casey Stallard and a boy from Georgia and Finley. And Finley's like, man, of all people, I didn't want to draw you. And I wanted to go right-handed. I wanted mine to be right-handed. I don't know why. Well, I line mine up right, and Casey comes over to the right. And I'm daggone, and Finley comes over to the right. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go left-handed. So I send mine left-handed, and in like 4 minutes, Joe is sitting here at 180 yards right-handed. Right where I'm going to go 100 and 100. Bam. Ours ain't even barked. I'm like, this is going to be bad, and he pluses him up. Well, then I tree a coon, and Finley trees a coon, and then Finley makes a slick tree, and then I tree a great big old den that's big around as this room. The biggest den I've ever seen. Country was up in it. And when I pull off that tree, I hear Joe sitting through their tree again, and I'm like, man, this is bad, So we have to lead to Joe, and Joe's got another coon. And then he treated another coon. So I've got like 175, and Joe had 450, wasn't it, actually? 425 or 450. And we only had like 38 minutes left to hunt, 40 minutes left to hunt. So Suzanne and Ashley's walking around with me, and
they called timeout.
Well, Stallard was guiding, or Stallard and Yant were kind of guiding. And the mistake they made is they called timeout and moved. And when they did that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to win this cast. And I told Ashton, he laughed again. He said, dude, he's got 450.
Hey, Ashley, you ever notice that he only tells these things where he was actually right at the end?
Yeah.
He don't say nothing about all the times he says this goofy stuff and he's wrong, does he?
I promise you there's more wrong than right. But I really felt like I was going to win. So we turned down a little old dike and strike me for 100. And nothing, bam, tree me for 100 on old acorn coon, and I walk in there and plus him up. I get looking around. There's no Suzanne. There's no Ashley. I'm like, they've been walking with me for a week, and now they gone. They sitting in the truck because in their mind, I'm beat. They don't even walk no more with no loser,
So they was over there with Casey walking with him?
No. They went to the truck, but they never left the truck. They stayed with Stallard at the truck. Stallard was at the truck because it was over in his mind. We just got to play this out. And then... So I've got 200, nothing else barked. So I pull off this. You see where this is going? And now I get turned loose again. And he goes down through there, and with like 18 minutes left, Casey's trying to hear dogs. It's, Joe's 2.1 miles away on the Garmin, but he can hear him. I'm like, yeah, whatever. The other boy withdraws. Finley says, I can't beat old Blue. I'm tired of hunting with him. Withdraw me. I'm gone. So me and Yant and Stallard, or Casey sitting there, and I've got to tree another coon to beat him. And we're sitting there, and he comes treed right in front of us, just blowing and blowing and blowing. They run the stationary. And Casey says, I can't believe you ain't going to tree that dog. I said, that dog will never stay there, Casey. Yeah. And he said, oh, whatever. I said, I'm telling you. And that stationary run down to 4 minutes and 12 seconds. I remember like I'm sitting here, 4 minutes and 12 seconds. And he made a little ground bark, and then left-handed. And he re-hit that track about 150 yards away, and we had it here, like you're talking about, here, boom, 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 boom. And Casey's saying, we need to walk this way. And I'm like, Casey, you're not even struck. I'm not going afoot yet. We're not walking to a Garmin.
Yeah.
If you can hear a dog in there, I said, the only dog we hear is Country, and he's going away from us. I said, he was at 180, now he's at 380. And I really think he was like 230, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to walk. And he goes peck, 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 peck. And Casey's like, how much time you got? How much time you got? And it's 2 minutes, you know, peck, peck, peck. And all of a sudden, and on the second bark, bam, Country treed. And Yant says, you're going to run a stationary a while ago, and now you hook him on the second bark. I'm like, bud, it's over.
Yeah.
So we walk in there, and this was, of all the draining casts I've ever been on, this one little less 15 minutes here is unbelievable. So we walk in there, and as we walk in, we see a coon sitting. He's in a big, huge oak tree, and there's no leaves on this tree, but it's big. It's probably 10 foot around if you run a tape. But there's a coon sitting right at the end of the oak limb on the left, and Stallard's like, looks like old Blue might have missed him, you know? And I tell Yan, I said, before we shine this tree, I want you to determine if they touch. And I'm sitting there going, come on, let them touch, let them touch. And Yan says, nope, they don't touch. So at that time, the thermals, your brother had told me about a thermal called a Pulsar 50. Mm-hmm. And it was like $8,000 or $9,000. And I ordered it at this hunt on Monday night at the Applebee's. Me and your brother ordered it, and I had it overnighted, so I had been using it and playing with it. And there was a tree that fell down, and I jumped up on this tree, and I threw that Pulsar, and I got looking, and there was a huge nest about big as a 55-gallon drum, and I could see these coon ears above that nest with this Pulsar. I could see his face, his tail, and I said, Yant, come here. And he said, yeah. And I had checked the tree all. You can look at the tree at one time. And I put that Pulsar. They didn't even know I had it. I put that Pulsar back in my pocket. And I took that laser. I said, you see them gray bumps right there? And Yant's like, yeah. What is it? I said, that's coon ears. And they went to laughing. I'm like, boys, that's coon ears. And he said, okay, go to Squalling. We go to Squalling, and he don't move. So I jumped down, and I saw me a good green tree. And I beat until I remember getting dizzy. I'm steady beating. And Casey and Yant are standing on this log, and Yant says, 6 minutes has gone strict. You might want to shine the rest of this tree. And when I looked back, he was shining the rest of this tree. And I said, Steve Yant, do not take your light off that nest. This coon is in that nest. Do not look anywhere else. I don't care what you do, but do not take your light off that nest. And I went to screaming, not squalling. I went to beating and screaming the highest pitch like a woman as hard as I could. And about that time, he says, I got him. And the first thing that hit my mind was I wanted to make sure Casey seen this coon. Because I thought the coon poked his head out and went back. And I looked back at Casey. Casey had dropped his head, was shaking his head. And I said, you got him? He goes, well, my God, the son of it's run out here on the limb. He's sitting out here in the wide open now. Hunt's over. So we basically used that whole hunt time to score this tree. So I get my dog, and I walk back towards the truck, and Ashley meets me about 80 yards. And he says, well, cuz, we had a good run. He says, we get them next year. I'm like, get them, hell, I'm going to get them tomorrow night. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, we in, brother, we won. He goes, ain't no way. You searched that tree 8 minutes. Jeff Stallard at the truck done said they ain't going to find this one. They done searched it 8 minutes. I said, all I can tell you is, you tell Jeff Stallard he's going home, bud. And that was, of all the coon hunting I've ever done my whole life since I was 11 years old, that cast right there was probably the most memorable, exhilarating cast I've ever been on.
Oh, out of all of them.
Out of all of them. My whole
the casts and all the winning and all the stuff you've done.
Winning a truck, winning pro divisions, pro hunts, out of the $100,000 hunt, getting second in that, out of all the casts I've ever hunted in, out of all these dogs, that cast right there was the most exhilarating cast to me.
And what'd that pay, that cast?
No, what's
like a couple grand?
No, it was 6,500, 6,000, something like that.
So,
I mean, it ain't about the money, guys.
That's why I'm trying to explain. It ain't.
It's not
some
about
of these biggest wins that people have in the cast that they remember the most ain't got nothing to do with money.
If it's about the money, I'd be in my office selling pharmaceuticals or selling land or buying cars and selling it. I wouldn't be out here coon hunting. Yeah. I can promise you that. But
Ashley, what's your plans for country now?
pull him out and win the World Hunt next year.
Like a night last night, that's the first thing we said. We wish we had country,
Yeah.
With his age and trying to breed and semen purpose and, how big he was pulling his semen and stuff, and kind of got to the point, he was at his age, we was going to have to make a decision. I felt like the vet told us he was going to go sterile, we was going to hunt him. He just couldn't keep taking it at his age, both of them. So and that's when we made the decision to pull him out, and everybody calling, wanting to breed. So we made that decision, and I'm going to hunt him. I plan to hunt him this week, but, it's up to John,
Yeah.
It really, we love him, either way, if he stands in the pen.
He don't know you guys
He
nothing.
don't know us
does he?
nothing. The memories that we've made with that dog, is priceless,
Josh, I've owned Jenny and Bad Habit and old Triple Creek Rat and Clayton and all these dogs, Wipeout Ruby, all these dogs. I've never, not one time have I turned one loose and looked at my Garmin, them crossing a gravel road, or I'm not talking about a big road, a gravel road, and thought, oh man, I need to get around there. Because my deal is, well, I ain't gonna say that because it's kind of cruel. I've always said if a man dies, you hire another one. If a dog dies, you buy another one.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't feel like that. Don't take that as an internal me feeling. I'm just saying it's if a dog dies, you buy another dog, or get another dog and finish him out and get him where he can win. But the last hunt that I hunted country in was down at Jed's again, and me and Yant and Jed and I think Rain was on that cast. Matter of fact, y'all's Rain dog. And country got way back left-handed, and he kept going across this road, back and forth. And I got around there, I realized they were burning. They were doing some field burns, and he was trying to take a track through that field burn, but he wouldn't. And I remember withdrawing because I said, man, all it takes is one car coming down that road. And I never felt like that about anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want anything to get killed, but I never had that urge. I got to get my hand on this dog and get him. So that's kind of where country is in my heart. So I don't
Considering
know.
all the dogs, and one question is, if you turn Bad Habit and Country loose together in a cast situation 10 times, who's going to have the most wins at the end? 10 times, head to head.
Whatever comes out the dog box when you open it's who I'd hunt. I've told you that before.
You got you got one that you like better. Come on, Strick.
That's a hard question because we own Bad Habit longer and we hauled him a lot more and we hunted him. And Jeff hunted I hunted Habit, but then Ronnie Smith hunted Habit for me, and Jeff hunted Habit for me. If you say for that period that I hunted both dogs, I like Country better.
Yeah.
Country was easy. Country didn't chew. Habit chewed. Country's broke. Habit chased hogs and armadillos and possums and skunks. He just soon kill a skunk as he would tree a coon. You never caught him on it.
Yeah.
But, you'd rent a car or rent a Durango because they really rent trucks back then. It'd be a pro hunt in Texas. You rent one and you ride around all for 2 days with your eyes watering because he's caught a skunk. And he act like it was just everyday deal. He would kill all these creatures. You'd be walking along, find dead possums. He done run them down and caught them. But he'd tree so many coons. And you could take about every scorecard and put 100 minus on tree before you ever left the clubhouse because he was going to chew. He was a 100 bark a minute tree dog. And then he might tree for 30 minutes and just stop on a whim, and he might chew. I remember one time I had a watch and he chewed for 7 minutes and 18 seconds. He never drew a bark. And then he goes back to treeing, and we walk in there. It takes an hour to get to him. He never shuts up again. Plus him up, he wins.
That's crazy.
So if you honestly making me take that and say which one, then it is Country because he was a dream to hunt. But if you're honestly going to do that, I like the little Apollo dog. He's not in their league. He's not yet. He's young. He's 2. He's not a Country. He's not a Habit. But if you're talking about enjoyment and enjoying, I like him. God, he's easy. He's like a kid to me. I've spent so much time with him, But it's Country. Yeah, it's Country.
I don't want to talk about the airplane dog on here or Norman Starling very bad, but I drew airplane last night. He beat me, treed 3 coons. Mm-hmm. And I've hunted with Country.
No comparison.
I don't care what Norman says or what anybody on the internet says or anything like that. They are not even. We walked that blue tick over 3 coons. He never got out of pocket. He never hustled around. He does. And don't get me wrong. if you put plain in coons, I imagine he'll beat the brakes off of you. He did us last night. I mean, it is what it is. He got a good break on that coon that they plussed. I don't think those trees touched, but it don't matter. Either way, I got beat. But I don't think they understand you can't understand by looking at scorecards what these dogs are like.
Right.
You can't. And Country had all the bells and whistles in the motor and all that stuff, and they're not even close. They just ain't on the same level.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It you know, we had that little hunt, and Ashley went with me, and we didn't have a very good night. You know, a month ago, everybody in the whole country was having a hard time treating coons, and
we did. I just drew you right before that down at Lebanon. We had a miserable time.
We were
treating
talking
coons,
about it.
yeah.
We had a hard everybody, and the guy, you know, that was up there said, "Man, I ain't been treating any coons, but there's a lot of coons here." And even though we were in Indiana, and Indiana's got known for good coon population, we just had a bad night.
Yeah.
But I mean, the little Apollo dog treated 3 coons. Airplane treated a coon. We walked him over it. Same thing. He stayed there for 7 minutes. We walked him. He treated a coon 35 feet from us. Feet, not yards. That's the only coon the dog really treated. But me and Ashley walked out, and I said, "You know what, Ashley?" I said, "I wish I was hunting the country of 19 tonight, because I'm telling you, there's no doubt in my mind, and I know when they retire or when they die, they get better, because Country had some bad nights too. But that night, and the way them coons were, and the way them coons were sitting, and the way the crops and the layout, Country absolutely would have destroyed Apollo and Airplane. It wouldn't even have been. It would have been ugly.
Yeah.
I would have quit at an hour if somebody had been hunting country.
I watched some of it on the live stream, and I was thinking, but you don't. I don't know, and that just goes back to I don't know why everybody gets to bagging on Country. I don't know if it's because you guys own him, or if it's because or what the deal is with him. But man, them guys ought to be flocking to that dog and celebrating that dog instead of trying to put him down. That's just my thing. And all these dogs, everybody gets jealous of a lot of these dogs, but I think that's why the Walker guys. You look at these guys. We bred a gold champion female to Country, Walker female to Country.
The all-time money-winning female in the world.
Got bred to Country,
bred. A world champion got bred to Country.
I mean,
you name it.
Yeah, these guys don't care what breeds what or what's. We just want to win.
Yeah.
You know. And I think maybe if the blue tick breed would start doing that a little more often, they'd be a little better off.
I'll tell you what you could do if it be possible. You could give me a country every year of country that I hunted in 19. You could give me a country every year, and I never would hunt anything. But I mean, I'm good the rest of my life. I'd be satisfied the rest of my life. I mean, he was just dominant. He's a dominant hound. When he's not today. He's 9 years old.
Yeah.
We started breeding him, and we could have very easily went out there and kept hauling that dog, and making him look bad, because now he ain't got coon hunting on his mind. He's got females. He's running females. He's not in shape. He's 9 years old. I mean, call a spade, but at the end of the day, you could say, well, why'd y'all quit hunting him when you did? Well, this is ugly on my face. The only person uglier than me is Jake Moore, but this is ugly on my face, and it ain't stupid, And it's like I told Ashley. Ashley wanted to breed him, and I understand why he wanted a legacy, some more pups. And I said, listen, we're either going to breed him or we're going to hunt him. And I've done my hunting, and I'm happy with what we've done. And if you want to breed him, we'll breed him. But I'm not hunting him again. We're not hunting him and making him look bad, because that's what's going to happen. The dog's going to look bad, and then, well, he's just another blue dog. He's not just another blue dog. He's not just another dog of any breed.
That's why I never wanted to hunt with him again. I told Ashley that too. I said, I never want to turn loose with that dog, because I'm afraid he'll make a mistake. It'll ruin this image that I have of this dog. And that's what happens when you go to breeding these male dogs. They start getting rough, and they start doing stupid things. And
after we started breeding him, I bought a brand new Can-Am crew cab. And I put him in, and I told Ash, I said, this dog just ain't the same dog. He ain't got that fire to go. I mean, he still goes hunting. He'll still tree a coon, but it ain't as quick. And he'd come moseying back by you. And I keep a pony whip in this, Ranger, and I run this joker down, and I whip the fire out of him. I mean, he'd come back a couple times just by me. Yeah. And I whipped the fire out of him. And here I am. I picked the Ranger up at 4 o'clock. Here it is, 8 o'clock, I'm hunting. And when I whipped him, that dude took off across that field. And when he hit the hood of that Ranger, son, he boop, 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 with them toenails. And he's standing up on the roof. And I'm telling you, I couldn't even speak. I was so mad because I'm like, he has scratched that new Ranger up. This son of a bitch ain't going hunting. This is country. I know what he's capable. So I grabbed that whip and I hauled ass across there. When I got there, I looked at the hood. And he hadn't scratched it, but he was on the roof looking down at me. And I said, get down here. And he just looked at me. I said, you better get down here. And I tried to get him, and he just went to the back. And I went around the back, and he went to the front. And I'm not the tallest person in the world anyway. You know, and the dog's bigger than me. And I'm like, dude, and Grant is dying laughing. Him and Caden's laughing. So finally, I went around the side, and he looked at me. And I jerked him off this side. I got him back, I jerked him off, and he just looked up. He didn't move. He looked up with his eyes, and I laid that pony wet in the back of the Ranger, and I said, oh, boy, I ain't doing this. Yeah. I ain't whipping you. You don't owe me nothing. You know, you give me so many hours and hours and hours of happiness. I'm not doing this. Yeah. So that was the last whooping country will ever get for he ain't. You know,
I don't think Ashley's going to whip him over
that house. Ashley will whoop you if you go try to whoop him.
All right, guys. I know we're all busy. It's World Hunt, Thursday night. Everybody's wore out and tired, so I appreciate you guys coming in, Ashley and John both.
Ashley, you were including this video or podcast. Surely you want to say something.
Yeah, anything. Spit it out there, Ashley. I see him. He's staring down on his phone. He's sending business texts and stuff. He's doing out.
Everybody don't realize this, but listen. When you go eat chicken in the United States of America, 1 in every 10 chicken, this man has put his hands on at one time. So think about that. Every time you eat a chicken, you probably eating something Ashley Oxendine has touched. 1 in every chicken in the U.S. comes from Ashley. So, I mean, you think about it.
Yeah.
That's
they said
number.
That I was talking to, I think it was Chris Powell yesterday was talking about Ashley's place and how well run it is and how much work it is and stuff like that. He ain't just some chicken farmer from North Carolina,
No, he ain't, buddy. I promise you that.
Chris come out and stayed with me a couple of days. I said, Chris, man, I like to hang out with you. I said, but he said, I'll go with you to work. And he went with me to work for 2 days.
That's what he said.
No, let me tell you a quick story about going to work. So we've been hunting. And I've got a place in Georgia. And Ashley come down there. Jeff and them come down. We go hunt, stay. And so 4th of July comes up this past year. And I buy this big old offshore boat. And I'm like, hey, Ashley, I'm going to bring the boat to he bought a place at Myrtle Beach. And I'm going to bring the boat to Myrtle Beach and leave it at your house. And when y'all close, they're closing on Friday before 4th of July. I said, me and Suzanne's going to come in there. I ain't bring no dog. We ain't hunting. We just going to enjoy and have a good time. All right. I said, we'll leave Wednesday night. We get to Thursday. So I roll in. I said, I got your boat in the lift. I said, good. So we get there on Thursday, and this dude closed on this beach house, and he's hauling mulch. He's mulching the bed. I'm like, I done told this joker that we having a good time now. So his brother-in-law's, I'm like, we need some beer if I got to haul this mulch. So we start hauling mulch around, and Suzanne's like, are we going to have a good time? I said, yeah, honey, we got to help Ashley with the mulch, So we mulch his yard up, and then the pressure wash kicks out. I'm like, damn, boy, we got a pressure wash too? So me and Suzanne, we like, all right, we get on a golf cart, we go to the bar across the river. And the next day, I'm like, Ashley City, we good. So the next day, I get up, I hear whines, weed eaters and shit going outside. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. He's working again. So, all right, so I said, well, let me get up and go down and see what they're doing. So I go in there and Chris, I said, where's Ashley? He went to the chicken farm. Hour and a half away. I'm like, went to the chicken farm. He went to the chicken farm. I said, we supposed to be down here vacation. He's at the chicken farm? He goes, yes. So I called him. I'm coming back. I know you're going to be back. So about 3 hours later, I told Suzanne, I said, if this joker ain't at this house by 2:30, we going. We going to Georgia. We leaving him, He'll be back. So he rolls in there, and we get on jet skis and get a ticket and all this. I mean, another story. But the next day, I wake up that morning. Where's Ashley? He's at the chicken farm. I'm like, honey, pack these suitcases up. We going from here. And we went on home. But he's obsessed, man.
I'll tell you what, you guys about got me talked out of coming out there and visiting him. I work my butt off at home all the time. I ain't coming out there to help Ashley work.
It slows down sometime, but
yeah.
See, that's the thing about coon hunting for me. That's my outlet, you know. And I enjoy pleasure hunting more than I do the competition side, you know. I'm like John, you know, we don't do it for the money, you know. We enjoy it, we love it.
Yeah.
Jake's did good with trigger, and Dale's done good with little trigger, and we had the last couple good years, you know.
Yeah. Well, you guys are in. You got dogs in. Congratulations on that. I want to get you guys down here again. I want to set up. We'll go hunting one night. We'll sit down and talk podcast. I want to talk about how you guys got your start and all that stuff too. You know, there's a lot of important stuff we can cover. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you're both here. You both want to sit down and talk about my favorite blue tick of all time, which is a pretty short list. But Old Country's probably one of my favorite dogs of all time. So I wanted to sit down and get a little talking in with him. But I appreciate you guys coming. Good luck the rest of the week out here. And I'm rooting for everybody all the time. But, you know, I've always looking at them cast members trying to get you guys getting in there too, and rooting for you too. So.
Yeah.
All right. You guys got any last words? I know John's got to say something.
Thank you, Josh.
All right.
I mean, I listen to these podcasts. It's always amazing to hear different people and different perspectives, and you know how people perceive or you perceive them, and then you listen to how they started. No, it's pretty amazing. So thank you for doing what you do.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Josh.
All right. Thank you guys for joining me. This is Josh Michaelis with The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network, and thank you for listening.